Hello friends and welcome to my channel. I'm so glad you are here. I think today is day 8 of Vlogmas and I haven't missed a day. And today I want to share with you, I'm going to read chapter 27 of Proverbs. And I want to show you a little bit of how I pick out a verse that I really want to dive deeper into, or verses that I want to dive deeper into with my mission method. If you've not heard about it, I'll put a link below to that video. I created this method for diving deep into scripture. It's called the Mission Method, and MISSION. M is meditate on the word. I is investigate, where you find out the who, what, where, when, why, and how. The first S is study the words and the characters and the places if you need to. The second S is seek further understanding with other resources outside of the Bible, like commentaries. And then I is interpret with exegesis. And then O is observe and look for obstacles and obedience, opportunities for obedience. And then N is now what, which is kind of the application. So anyway, today I'm looking at, when I'm meditating on the word, how I decide what verse I want to really dive deep into. And so first, let me just read chapter 27 of Proverbs. And it's so funny because I was thinking about Psalm 91, and I was flipping through my Bible and it landed on this, and I was like, let me see if this is something that God maybe wanted me to land on, because that's where it landed. And so let me read it to you. And by the way, I think God was like, stop here and check this out. Okay, so here is chapter 27 of Proverbs. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know. I've got my Bible, y'all. Got my Bible down here. It's almost like on a podium. It's a stack of buckets, y'all. There's, empty icing buckets serve many purposes. So let's see here. Do not boast about tomorrow, for you do not know what a day may bring forth. Let another man praise you and not your own mouth, a stranger and not your own lips. A stone is heavy and sand is weighty, but a fool's wrath is heavier than both of them. Wrath is cruel and anger a torrent, but who is able to stand before jealousy? Open rebuke is better than love carefully concealed. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. A satisfied soul loathes the honeycomb, but to a hungry soul every bitter thing is sweet. I kind of like the sounds of that. That might be one I want to dive into deeper. Like a bird that wanders from its nest is a man who wanders from his place. Now, I wonder why that's a proverb. That one kind of intrigues me as well. So I'll just kind of mark that one and think about it. Ointment and perfume delight the heart, and the sweetness of a man's friend gives delight by hearty counsel. Do not forsake your own friend or your father's friend, nor go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor nearby than a brother far away. My son, be wise and make my heart glad, that I may answer him who reproaches me. A prudent man foresees evil and hides from it. The simple pass on and are punished. Take the garment of him who is surety for a stranger, and hold it in pledge when he is surety for a seductress. That one I don't really understand very well, so I may want to look at that one. He who blesses his friend with a loud voice, rising early in the morning, it will be counted a curse to him. Okay, this one confuses me as well. I can see I'm going to have a lot of several verses to go through individually to kind of learn and glean more from. A continual dripping on a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Whoever restrains her restrains the wind and grasps oil with his right hand. As iron sharpens iron, so a man sharpens the countenance of his friend. Whoever keeps the fig tree will eat its fruit. He who waits on his master will be honored. As in water, face reflects face, so a man's heart reveals the man. Hell and destruction are never full, so the eyes of man are never satisfied. The refining pot is for silver and the furnace for gold, and a man is valued by what others say of him. Though you grind a fool in a mortar with a pestle along with crushed grain, yet his foolishness will not depart from him. These are all very interesting, aren't they? Be diligent to know the state of your flocks and attend to your herds, for riches are not forever, nor does a crown endure to all generations. When the hay is removed and the tender grass shows itself and the herbs of the mountains are gathered in, the lambs will provide your clothing and the goats the price of a field. You shall have enough goats' milk for your food, for the food of your household and the nourishment of your maidservants. So that's chapter 27. There was a lot in there, don't you think? Once I look back down there without my glasses, y'all, everything is just blurry. There were several, like even some that I didn't stop and mention just because I felt like I was starting to mention too many of them. Because this is why I love the Bible. This is why I love deep diving into studies. There are words to be looked at, to look at translations and definitions, and then there may be some things that we may have to look deeper into in a more cultural way, or like, for example, where it talks about the bird that wanders from its nest is a man who wanders from his place. Okay, so what does that mean? What are the implications there that people back then may have understood that I don't fully grasp right now? And so we need to kind of look into that, maybe look at some commentaries to figure out what exactly was the meat of that verse. But there is so much. And then we see, did y'all pick up on a couple of references to Jesus? Because, you know, this is Proverbs. So this was written long before Jesus. And you hear about the fig tree. Whoever keeps the fig tree will eat its fruit, so he who waits on his master will be honored. To this, I'm reminded of the fig tree that didn't bear fruit. And then there was another one somewhere that was just like, ooh. But tell me, is there anywhere else? Let me know in the comments below. Did you get any vibes from Jesus being kind of hinted to, some foreshadowing in this at all? I think probably the lamb, it might have been the lambs will provide your clothing. No, that's not really. But whenever it's talking about maybe when the hay is removed and the tender grass shows itself, you know, whenever the wheat, is it the tares or whatever, or the chaff and all of that stuff, when things are separated out in the end, and the goats and the sheep and all that stuff. But anyway, and then the thing about nor go to your brother's house in the day of your calamity. Better is a neighbor nearby than a brother far away. That's another one. I'm just like, these are all things that I really want to deep dive into. And so that's how I do it. That's whenever I don't already have a verse picked out. I just want to read it. I want to understand the context and kind of see what they're talking about here. And you get an overarching theme here, basically of like negatives, the foolishness, the anger, and then wisdom. And I'm wondering if Proverbs 27 is one of the wisdom verses, because not all verses in Proverbs are wisdom verses, or that's not the type of proverb they are. But this one is definitely wisdom. You know, faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. And I think that's one that we can probably pretty easily translate to mean, you know, friends can tell you the truth and it might hurt a little bit, but they're doing it in love. Maybe they're telling you things you don't want to hear, but you need to hear. Whereas the kisses of an enemy are deceitful. You know, they can be nice to your face, but they're leading you down a wrong path. A lot of people will lie to your face, or maybe they're not intentionally lying, but they're leading you somewhere really, really bad. And so you can't always trust those people who are kind to you, who are doing things that may seem like the right thing, but they're not. So anyway, on that note, I love you guys, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, y'all.